to this now. All 26 of the country's universities have been ranked in a new global ranking of universities. The Webometrics ranking of world universities used open data from global universities and lists institutions based on the quantity and quality of their web content. For the 2022 rankings, three main indicators were used, including visibility, transparency, and excellence. The University of Cape Town has been named the top-ranked university in the country, while these institutions have been ranked. Universities South Africa says there must be a wide range of studies to be classified as a college. For more on this, Dr. Linda Meyer from Universities South Africa joins us now for that conversation. So let's start with this Webometrics ranking of world universities. Dr. Meyer, just tell me how it works. I had a read through, and I've got to give credit to the team at Business Tech, which is where I picked up the story, Business Tech writing on it. I read it. I still was left a bit confused as to what is this, what are these rankings based on? Web what? Web content, web appearance, web-based publishing of research?
Yes, thank you very much. So this specific ranking system that is used really evaluates globally what the visibility, the transparency, and the excellence is of a particular institution. So it's not just about their web place, that where they are located in terms of web access, but certainly around where they are located for the visibility and the work that they do, engagement in research and information, as well as scientific knowledge domains that are accessible. And so really it's not new to us in terms of the ranking systems, but this is obviously a ranking system that evaluates 30,000 institutions globally and rates them, and as well as public and private institutions in South Africa that are rated on this specific web metrics domain.
Sure. So, I mean, you're saying 30,000 institutions around the world, and I'm looking at the list. I'm seeing that globally, University of Cape Town is at 245 in terms of this ranking system. Wits University 393, Stellenbosch 437. Is this all significant, particularly in the context in which a lot of what we do these days is web-based? A lot of research is published on the web, and it is becoming increasingly a repository of knowledge and access to that knowledge.
Yes, so it is important for us. Obviously, historically, we deal with other ranking systems, and universities spend a lot of money to be evaluated. For example, the European ranking systems, and several others that our universities participate in. And you'll see that these listings come out regularly, for example, Times Higher. So this is not new information for us. Our top 10 universities move up and down within the ranking systems of the various ranking domains. But certainly what was interesting for us is just that this is located in a wide global domain, but it also for the first time gave us a positioning of where our private institutions are located in South Africa.
And when the institutions read these rankings, what do you imagine as Universities South Africa should be the response? In what direction should university leadership be motivated to improve on these rankings? So what areas can they tweak and perhaps improve to ensure that we continue to gain higher and higher rankings for local universities?
Well, importantly, critically across all of the ranking systems, research output, research access, all of these elements, as well as community engagement, visual availability throughout their networking systems, how they support each other, but primarily, really, it always boils down to the quality of the education, the accessibility of the education, and really what research is being put out. So for institutions, it's a process, an opportunity to reflect, to circumspectly reflect on what is going on throughout the higher education system and to invest in those areas that are critically important to elevate the ranking system.
Yeah.
Many individuals will say we mustn't be chasing rankings because that's not the prime determinant, but certainly in a global world, it's important for us to benchmark where we are located against other institutions.
So while you mentioned that, then the areas that can help institutions improve, you mentioned research and community impact. It brings me to the next topic, which I do believe that perhaps in our introduction we didn't distinguish that these are two separate topics. It's got to do with the one that has to do with the global ranking of all 26 universities, but the latter part of what we are talking about has to do with developments here at home. This draft policy that was issued out in the Gazette by the Higher Education Department and Minister for comment. What's your initial thinking around the insistence in that draft that, you know, some universities, certainly this is how it's been read, that some universities may lose that ranking of university if they don't meet certain criteria, such as what you've been mentioning, research output, community impact, etc.?
So indeed, yes. The policy for the recognition of institutional types was published earlier this week, and we now have 3 categories of institutions that will be available in South Africa, both for public and private institutions. Currently, privates cannot use the word university, but with the regulation once enacted and operational, we will have these 3 types, which certainly will allow us to focus on the type of institution that a specific individual institution would like to be. So, for example, there are now going to be higher education colleges, there are going to be university colleges, and there are going to be universities, similar to what we see in the United Kingdom and Canada.
Yes. I don't know, do I still have you there, Dr. Meyer? I was still...
Yes.
So you mentioned these 3, higher education colleges, university colleges, and out-and-out universities. What would be the difference? I'm familiar with the phrasing, but I'm just wondering what the content would be, and would that enhance the quality of education and focus and specialization if this draft policy were to end up being adopted?
Indeed. So what this will allow the institutions to do is to focus on what they're good at. Higher education colleges will really focus on nursing, will focus on transport, will focus on particular domains of education, and it will be primarily in the undergraduate space, so not past a B degree. The university colleges will be offering undergraduate as well as postgraduate qualifications, and their qualifications need to be 85% of their qualifications need to be within the higher education domain, and they will really have a limited ambit of research that they will participate in. For universities, 95% of their programs need to be within the higher education domain, and critically, there's a strong focus on the research imperative. So both applied strategic and developmental research that these institutions will be responsible for in the knowledge project, in producing new knowledge and really encapsulating those knowledge. So really the universities will be focused on postgraduate domains with feeding underlying degrees that will obviously escalate and advance.
And I imagine that, as a last question to you, Dr. Meyer, I imagine that even thinking about policy solutions suggests that there are perhaps deficiencies, if not out-and-out problems, that are being identified. Would I be correct in saying perhaps there's a weakness that has been identified in as far as what you just referred to as producing new knowledge is concerned, research that responds to society's problems, such that, you know, a university is almost like dye in the water, that its existence has an impact in the community and society of South Africa. Is that something that is an issue, or was there no such issue, and this is purely about moving forward without any particular problem identified that needs to be solved?
So the important thing with this policy is it allows for coherency of the system. So it allows institutions to focus on what it is that they're good at. So if there is a higher education college, they shouldn't be burdened with research and research output. Higher education university colleges, however, need to have some sort of research because they're building on a particular area and they will have niche areas, for example, technology, innovation, and we might see into the future that there's a very big uptake within this category. But for universities, certainly, it's nothing new to us in South Africa. Our universities are globally recognized for the outstanding research and researchers that we have that are rated through the NRF and globally recognized. So really, the issue is around systemically ensuring coherency and also not expecting in types of institutions to focus on things which really is not where they want to be.
Yeah.
If we look at our UOTs, the universities of technology, we might have, as the policy unfolds, have a different debate around the locality of different institutions.
Yeah, in fact, just very quickly, on those universities of technology, where would they fit in terms of this policy should it be adopted? We've mentioned higher education colleges, university colleges and universities. Where would universities of technology fit in there?
Well, currently they would fit into the university band because 95% of their programs are within the higher education domain and they have a strong research focus. But what is important for new institutions is that they will go into a candidacy phase within the university college framing and have to be there for 5 years, partnering with a fully fledged university before they will be eligible to apply to be a fully fledged university. So certainly we don't anticipate that any university is going to close down, that in the near future any university is going to lose their status as a university, but certainly as new institutions come online, we might see that these type of universities are differently classified.
All right, fantastic. It's crystal clear. Thank you for your time and your insights here on eNCA. That's Dr. Linda Meyer from Universities South Africa weighing in on the global rankings, Webometrics of South African universities alongside 30,000 other institutions around the world, as well as the new draft policy that's out for comment on classification of universities and other institutions of higher education.